Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, I'm gonna just start making these little videos rather than, I would love to be more live and hopefully get to answer more questions to make this a little bit more a back and forth, but I need more subscribers on one channel, so this is going to be the best way to do it. But ultimately, I want to talk on something that will probably resonate more across the world and understanding. I'm getting ready to be interviewed on a podcast for metaphysics, and I don't know if you know what that is, but it's essentially it's understanding what this world, this reality is in a metaphysical way, which is more, you could think like metaphor. And like some people say this is a simulation, some people say we're living a dream, that sort of thing. But what I want to talk on today, more so specifically, is a thing that I see in that I deal with. I just was talking with a young lady this afternoon about what's going on in Palestine and Israel and all of that, and I just because I think I asked her, she had an accent, I asked her where she was from, and she gave me a name. I couldn't remember what it is, but I was like, I'm not familiar with that. And she's like, well, it's Palestine. And I'm like, oh, I'd never heard of it called that. But and I said, well, that's certainly a sensitive subject. And boy, she could just see it in her eyes and her feelings. So I didn't want it to, we were there for another thing, and I didn't want to take it down a deep rabbit hole, but it got me thinking. And one of the things I really have been kind of honing my life into is non-duality, which is unity. Non-duality, we're all one, right? One thing, this is all one thing. And then the duality of everything. Everything has duality. If you're a hermetic, or if you understand hermeticism, there's light and there's dark. There's hot and there's cold. And oftentimes people see those as two separate things, but really they're the one thing. So like light and dark is just, it's all light. At the end of the day, it's all light, because dark really is just absence of light, or less light. But there's still some light. You can see dark. You can see the color black, right? It's almost like a void, but there's light there. It's essentially two ends of the same spectrum. Same thing with hot and cold. It's all measurement of heat, right? There's lots of heat, and then there's no heat. Sorry, my shoulder's a little broad, and so when I just go to reach, you don't see my hands. But then there's also Trinity, right? The Trinity, right? And that's where we struggle with, and we can currently get into spirituality, the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And a lot of religions say, well, they are one. They're one and the same. And yes, they are. And no, they are not. That's the duality of it. But then let's throw in the paradox, right? The Trinity. I would say the Mother, the Father, and the child, right? That's really what we should be maybe looking at, because you have to have two dueling forces. You rub them together, and that's energy. That's what spits out. And even science, we'll get into the metaphysics of it, right? Two things create a third thing. And a lot of times people ask me, well, do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? What about this? What about that? And we could talk about martial arts, right? Do you believe Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best martial arts there is? And I could say yes and no, right? Because I could say yes, it is, because it encapsulates many other martial arts. It's going to be, especially American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, American Jiu-Jitsu. It's infused with Sambo, wrestling, catch wrestling, judo. There's even some Muay Thai in there. There's a mixture. It's really more like MMA than anything. And even some people say MMA, that's a martial art. It's actually just mixed martial arts. It's the stand-up and the ground. The duality of it, right? The unity, the non-duality is martial arts. We just call it all martial arts. And then, we get into the paradox of things that, I can say yes, no, because no, jiu-jitsu isn't the best martial art if we're standing and on our feet and strikes are involved and all you know is jiu-jitsu. Strikes, you're gonna have a hard time getting anybody who can throw good punches, knees, elbows. You're gonna have a hard time winning them with just jiu-jitsu. It can happen, but I can't say it's there's no there. And then sometimes, and then never, then always, right? It's all about the situation. That's which martial art's the best is what situation are we in, right? Is it just me and you, or are you twice my size, right? I've done jiu-jitsu with dudes twice my size, and a lot of the jiu-jitsu goes out the window. I've also done jiu-jitsu with people who are a lot faster than me, even though I was a lot bigger than. Man, my jiu-jitsu wasn't nearly as good. I've also done jiu-jitsu when strikes were allowed, and it changes things. So yes, no, and sometimes it always. It just depends on what martial art we're talking about, and that's kind of how do we tie that into spirituality and what's going on in the world. I want to center it. I want to let's just talk about us. Why is there so much opposition, friction, right? Where's that energy? Good, bad, or indifferent? It's there. And I think at the end of the day, the only reason I used to struggle with opposition when somebody came to me and they opposed me in any facet, whether it was how I'm teaching, how I'm living in my life, or just in a fight, it was because I couldn't see their way. I couldn't see their way, or they couldn't see mine. We were dueling, and hence duality, right? The dueling of reality. We're all stuck in this, I am me and you are you. And we can't get to the unity of we are we, because all I see is you and I don't see me in you, right? And that's the problem. That's the problem right there. And, well, yes, no, sometimes and always. That's a big problem. But why does that exist? Because it exists within myself. We've all seen those cartoons. You got a little red devil and a little white angel. You got two voices. You got your conscious and your subconscious, right? You can't deny that. Why is there a conscious, or why is there a subconscious? We all know there's a subconscious. Why is it a subconscious? Because there's a conscious. Your conscious is your ego mind, your conscious mind. That's the I am Jose, Joseph, the professor, the doctor, the son, the father, the brother. I am all these things the world has taught me to be. I am this old. I am done all these things, and this is who I am. That is the I am of I am, right? That's the fractal, individual person from the unity of all things. And then it has a subdivision, a sub-consciousness that ultimately, talks on, that's the soul. That's the soul mind. That is the spark, the light, the creator of source, the creator, source creator of us all, right? Of all things, literally, from cell phone to flesh to rock to sand to gas to light and sound, everything. There's a source to all that, an alpha and an omega. Even source has duality. There's an alpha and an omega source. There's a light and a sound interwoven. Science can back this up. Interwoven, two frequencies, right, that manifest into matter to what matters. So what really matters, right? We need to be individuals. We need to have the duality, because dueling is fun. I love sparring in martial arts, right? I love it. But ultimately, to a degree, because everything, even water, Water, essence of life. We're 80% water, okay? But if we don't flow, we don't grow, right? Water becomes toxic when it's not flowing and freely able to move. The body works the same way, right? It's the same thing. So we need some duality in life. We need it. But we also need to understand the unity or the non-duality of life. Hey, we're on the same ship here, guys. We're on the same planet, right? There's a reason why it says honor thy father and thy mother. Abrahamic religion, pretty good at honoring Father, the Son. They say the Holy Spirit, but they don't identify it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say that's Mom, the Holy Spirit. Where do all spirits enter the material realm? From that Holy Spirit of the Mother, right? Plain and simple. I don't want to get too graphic there, but you know what I'm saying. And then there's the Trinity, right? There's Father, Source, Mother, Source, and the Trinity is the child of God, the child of Source, child of Creator. Pick a name. If you're a mother or a father, you know your children have multiple names for you because you're also a creator. You're a source creator, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. Teaches us we're no different. We're no different. Yet we are, yet we're not. Sometimes, always, and never. Paradox. It's very paradoxical. And it's tough. It's hard to understand. And so sometimes, somebody will ask me a question. Well, what about this, Professor? And I'll say, yes. And I'll fight, but also no, right? It depends. It depends on all kinds of situations. We're fighting about things, the land. That's what they're fighting about, right? And the lady wanted to talk to me about my Native American heritage and how I can resonate with that. And I see it, and I'm like, I get it. I see the duality. I see the duality and a toxic level of that, right? Because even water is toxic. If I drank 2 or 3 gallons of water as fast as I could, I would probably end up in a hospital real quick, if not dead. But at the end of the day, it's too much duality, right? It's toxic, right? Even vegetables can harm us if we eat too many of them, right? Even meat can harm us if we eat too much of it. There is a limit to all things. Everything, even healthy things, have a toxic level to it. Because we are designed to be unique, and we need to have that duality. We just need to embrace it and love it and celebrate it. But there's the Trinity of it, right? The Trinity is a difficult, right? You're me, I'm you, and we are it, the bigger part, right? And that's what brings us back. 1, 2, 3 becomes you, me, and where are we, right? It all circles back. It circles back and continues. So ultimately, I think that's where we're slowly getting there. I think the world's kind of changing. I mean, we're having too much duality. We've had too much duality. We're literally dueling to kill ourselves. Survival of the fittest, right? It seems like we've become so evolved. We have such advancements in everything. But all I see, I see the book of Genesis, not much different than the book of Job. There was darkness, then there's light, because we found the God upstairs, right? The collective consciousness of our subconsciousness. And what we're struggling with a lot of times is our consciousness, our fractal piece of our fractal being. We're human beings, guys. We are all more alike than we are different. If we shred the skin, the shelter, we put the mask that we wear down, we're one. We're one. You couldn't, the most advanced scientists in the world, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you took a slice of my, pectoral muscle, slice of my son's, and then took some old dude, I don't have a dad, biological father that I know of, but if you sliced them all in the same little fract, same spot, and give it to the best scientist, he couldn't tell you whose was whose, right? We should be embracing the duality that we're all the same colors, or all different colors of wheat. When we start to talk about infrared, right, therapy, fractals of light, we're light and sound. Well, there's lots of different vibrations of those spread out, different octaves, different gamma rays, and ultimately that's the point of life, is to have difference, right? If I was to use the metaphor, life's like a movie, how enjoyable would the movie be if, one, there was no drama or tragedy, like everything was a perfect Stepford Wives type deal, and if I played every single part, you know, I mean, we've seen a few. I mean, Eddie Murphy's pretty good at that, but he changes it up pretty good. But that's kind of what life is, at least to a degree. And if we could learn to embrace that, and you see a person that comes to you and you say, that's just another version of me. Maybe it's a feminine or more masculine version, right? More alpha or more omega, right? Or a lot of times what I find, because I've transcended alpha and omega, and I just kind of sit in more of that transcendent area of shepherd, right? And at the end of the day, I don't see the difference. I see the unity. I see, man, that's all good, right? There is no good or bad. There is only just good and lesser thereof good, right? I might lose some people in here, but God is all things. But God is only good things. You got to do the math. You got to figure that out, right? That's part of the journey. Same thing with martial arts, right? There's, you know, all good. They're all good. All good. I got in a long debated argument. Some dude reached out to me about how you're an MMA coach and retired fighter. Why would you promote Tai Chi? That's so dumb. I'm like, well, then you don't know what it's for. And then it's dumb for you. You know, another guy reached out to me and wanted some advice, and I told him a book. I said, read him the Kybalion or the Corpus Hermeticum, and it'll kind of help you understand reality a little bit. And he also wanted to talk about martial arts, and I said, just read the book. And he had all these questions. I'm like, dude, just read the book. And he's like, why don't you want to just talk to me? I'm like, dude, I'm busy, man. I have a lot going on. Read that book, and then we'll answer a lot of these questions for you, and then I will help, you know, we can go deeper into it. But you're asking big questions that would take, you know, a whole lecture on just a couple pages. And so I had to give him the analogy. I said, I'm going to give you a book, or I'm going to give you a rock. I'm giving you a rock, right? And in your level of consciousness, you look at that rock, and you're like, that rock is, why is this dude giving me a rock? What do I need a rock for? I wanted to know about how life is life, and why is it this way, and why is there struggles, why is there suffering, why do some people have more than other people, all these things. And I'm like, well, here's a rock. This rock will teach you. But he was too arrogant. He had too strong of an ego, right? Too egotistical to see that rock could teach him. And if he would have put in the work on that rock, if he would have polished that rock, spent some time with that rock, what can this rock teach me about the universe? What can pressure do, right? He would learn that if you polish it up and you put in the work, that rock just might be a gem, might be a diamond inside, right? An oyster can take a grain of sand and make a beautiful, valuable pearl. So, say la vie, man. He just couldn't do it. Sometimes I get into these conversations with people and I'm like, man, this requires a lecture, guys. You got to read some books. Why is there a lot of problems in the world? Mainly because we don't educate ourselves, guys. And we can say, oh man, I've been oppressed. I got that. I can see that. And yes, maybe you are. Okay? But libraries are free, man. Libraries are free. We just got to get there. If I were homeless and I didn't have anything, I would be spending my days in the warm library, right? Because one of the greatest phrases that ever hit me was, if you want to keep something from somebody, right? Put it in a book. Put it in a book. So much about sovereignty, freedom, oppression. Man, America, like, we're slaves to our own mind. We're slaves to our own mind. And that's why we look at somebody else and say, they're oppressing me. Right? They aren't making it easy on you. That's for sure. I've had a hard life. I was born into poverty, without a father, a mother to, selfishness of dependency of drugs and alcohol, and I was abused in every form and fashion that you can imagine. And I'm only standing here educated and helping and loving everybody. I love all, right? What did Jesus teach us? Love all, man. Love all. But what is all? What all is included? What's real? What's not real? What's the illusion that Maya has set for us, right? There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. I hope that maybe, I can find my peace and place in the world, and then it helps me understand there's a reason why I went through all the shit I went through, so that I can help other people get out of it, right? So if you're having a rough day, if you're having a rough life, a rough experience, man, there's a reason for it. And you are the placebo, my friend. You are the placebo. Unfortunately, you're part of the problem, but you're also you're the whole solution, right? And I know that's tough. I've been molested. I've been raped, stolen from, cheated on. I've had all those bad things. I got it. But I only sit looking at heaven on earth now because I knew all was mine. It's all right here, right? These are little transistor radios that can tap into the collective, that can reach other people. There's so much out there, man. And so that's my spiel today. I'll post this. Hopefully, I won't scare. So I might scare off some subscribers, and maybe I'll gain some. I don't know. But that's my 2 cents for today, guys, man. We are one, yet we are not. And that part that we are not should not divide us any further. It should bring us together. I don't want to date myself. I don't want to hang out and be my best friend. Yet I do, right? Be one. Get the unity. Stop having those two duels in your own head. Wake up and just tell yourself, man, I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you. You're awesome. Get those two voices working together. Meditate. Breathe a little bit. Get them on the same page. And then dial into that radio, transistor radio, and tap into the collective divine that's created us, right? Best fighter in the world, martial arts wise, is one that doesn't ever fight. I used to always say, man, I am my own worst enemy. You probably feel that. And then I graduated to, gosh, I'm actually my only enemy. Now I dissolved that and I got no enemies, man. So that's my deal. Much love, peace. Just learn to harmonize with it. Ride the waves, frequency of light, sound, right? Thank you. So peace, love, guys.